The conversation surrounding the British monarchy has once again taken an unexpected turn. A single post circulating online has reignited a familiar debate. Who overshadows whom? And why does the narrative seem to change, depending on who is in the spotlight? The post claims that the royal institution is currently overshadowed by scandal, and questions why UK media outlets did not declare that Meghan's recent public appearance eclipsed the monarchy, especially when, in the past, similar language was used repeatedly about her ventures. At the centre of this discussion is Meghan Markle, whose appearance at the 15% Pledge Gala drew attention across social media. Images from the event show her arriving in a striking strapless gown, poised and composed, clearly comfortable in a high-profile philanthropic setting. The tone online was celebratory in many circles. Admirers praised her elegance, her confidence, and her continued alignment with charitable initiatives. Yet what makes this moment particularly interesting is not simply the outfit or the event. It's the contrast in media framing. In previous years, headlines frequently suggested that Meghan's projects, whether product launches, interviews or appearances, overshadowed other senior royals. At times, even relatively small developments were framed as dramatic disruptions to royal proceedings. There were stories suggesting that lifestyle releases or charitable announcements distracted from engagements carried out by Catherine, Princess of Wales. The implication was clear: visibility equals rivalry. But in the current climate, that framing appears less prominent. To understand why, we have to look at the broader context. The monarchy has experienced a turbulent period marked by scrutiny, internal transitions, and public debate. Since the accession of King Charles III, discussions about modernisation, relevance, and public trust have intensified. Every public appearance, every policy shift, and every media interview is analysed with renewed intensity. At the same time, Prince Harry and Meghan have continued building their independent profile outside the formal structure of royal duties. Their work now centres around philanthropy, media production and advocacy, rather than ceremonial responsibilities. So, when Meghan steps onto a red carpet, it doesn't occur within the same institutional framework as before. She is no longer representing the monarchy in an official capacity. Instead, she is representing causes and partnerships of her choosing. That shift fundamentally changes the narrative dynamics. In earlier years, overshadowing implied internal competition, two branches of the same institution vying for public attention. Now, the situation is different. The Sussexes operate independently. If Meghan draws significant attention, it does not formally detract from palace engagements because the institutional ties have changed. However, perception is powerful. Social media users often interpret attention as a zero-sum game. If one figure trends, another must be losing ground. This binary framing fuels online debate, even if reality is more nuanced. The image attached to the post also includes a television clip discussing whether controversies could destabilise the monarchy. The juxtaposition is striking. On one side, glamour and philanthropy; on the other, commentary about structural strain. This contrast highlights an evolving media ecosystem. Traditional outlets once held dominant control over royal narratives. Today, digital platforms amplify alternative interpretations. A single viral post can reshape the day's conversation. What may appear as silence from major publications could reflect editorial caution. Media organisations are increasingly aware of criticism surrounding sensationalism. Declaring that one appearance overshadowed the monarchy might be seen as unnecessarily provocative in a sensitive climate. There's also the factor of audience fatigue. For years, stories about rivalry between Meghan and other royals dominated headlines. Public appetite for that framing may have waned. Viewers now seem more interested in institutional stability, policy relevance, and the monarchy's long-term direction than in interpersonal comparisons. Still, symbolism matters. Meghan's appearance at a high-profile philanthropic gala sends a message about continuity. Despite stepping back from formal duties, she remains active in public life. The 15% Pledge initiative itself emphasizes economic inclusion and support for black-owned businesses, an issue that aligns with her previously stated advocacy priorities. Observers who support her see this as consistency. Critics might interpret it differently. But either way, the event demonstrates that she continues to command attention. And attention in today's media environment is currency. The monarchy, meanwhile, faces a different kind of scrutiny. Institutional questions about funding, transparency and modernization carry more weight than individual fashion coverage. When commentators ask whether controversies could topple or weaken the institution, they are engaging in a broader conversation about relevance in the 21st century. It's important to note that public trust in long-standing institutions often fluctuates over time. Moments of crisis can either erode confidence or inspire reform. The monarchy has historically weathered periods of turbulence before. In this context, the absence of overshadowing headlines may reflect shifting priorities rather than favoritism. Newsrooms operate within complex editorial frameworks. What generates clicks one year may be viewed as redundant the next. Another element worth examining is audience fragmentation. Supporters of the Sussexes tend to gather in dedicated online communities, while traditional royal coverage appeals to another demographic. The overlap is not as large as it once was. This segmentation reduces direct narrative competition. Furthermore, Meghan's image at the gala communicates self-possession. She appears comfortable navigating high-profile environments independently. For viewers, that visual reinforces the idea that she has established a separate lane. The broader takeaway may be this. The concept of overshadowing assumes that all parties are competing within the same arena. But the arena has changed. The monarchy operates as a constitutional institution tied to national identity and ceremonial duty. The Sussexes function as private citizens engaged in advocacy and media projects. While their histories are intertwined, their current trajectories differ. That divergence complicates sensational headlines. It's harder to frame two distinct paths as direct rivals. Still, online commentary thrives on contrast. The viral post questioning media silence taps into lingering frustrations among supporters who remember past coverage. It reflects a perception that narratives were once weaponized. Whether that perception is fully accurate or partially influenced by selective memory is open to debate. Media ecosystems evolve. So do public figures. In analysing moments like this, it helps to separate three layers: the event itself, the media framing, and the audience interpretation. The event, a philanthropic gala appearance. The framing, comparatively restrained headlines. The interpretation, claims of inconsistency. Each layer influences the next. Ultimately, the significance of Meghan's appearance lies less in whether it overshadowed anyone, and more in what it represents about visibility after departure from official royal roles. It demonstrates that stepping back from one institution does not equate to retreating from public life. At the same time, the monarchy's challenges are not determined by red carpet moments. Institutional stability depends on governance, public engagement and adaptability. In a media age driven by instantaneous reaction, it's tempting to interpret every image as a power shift, but long-term influence unfolds more gradually. The viral post underscores how invested audiences remain in this story. Years after the initial transitions, conversations continue to trend within minutes. That enduring interest speaks to the global resonance of royal narratives. As viewers, we might consider asking not who overshadowed whom, but why the language of competition persists. Does it reflect unresolved tensions, or is it simply a storytelling device that keeps audiences engaged? What's clear is that both the monarchy and the Sussexes continue to generate attention in distinct ways. One through centuries-old ceremony, the other through contemporary advocacy platforms. And perhaps that coexistence, parallel yet separate, is the defining feature of this chapter. If this discussion sparked new thoughts for you, consider reflecting on how media framing shapes perception. Share your perspective respectfully, engage thoughtfully, and stay tuned for further analysis as these narratives continue to evolve.